All right, folks, welcome back. Game number 1 in the losers bracket, actual semifinals. I think I'd referenced the last series as the semifinals. Oops. Spawning here in the top right of Dusk Towers. He just did knock out a good Zerg. We'll see if he can do it twice. It's ShoWTimE.
In the bottom left, as the teal Zerg, he's Tefel.
All right, so Tefel is a very interesting character because he's been good at times, and I mean this in the absolute truest, not rudest way possible, terrible during others. Like, there are some instances where Tefel looks like he could be a type of Zerg player to take on Grians, and that's a good day. Then there's sometimes we watch him and we're like, dude, did you forget how to play this game? Like, what are you doing? So the inconsistency of this guy is questionable, but he has always still been one of the players to make it through a round of 8 semifinals, even 2 finals of tournaments. It's just the question of, like, how long can he keep up the consistency of winning? Now, coming up against ShoWTimE is, of course, going to be difficult, because ShoWTimE's already shown us, really good games. Not just versus TLO now, because TLO is doing weird stuff. That's, like, an exception, but he's been beating back Zerg players all day. He 2-0'd sort of in the losers bracket. I'm just actually checking the winners bracket because he was, eventually knocked out by Snoot. But he had taken on a good chunk of players, solo amongst others, before that. So he's had a share of PvZ today.
Yes, that's what I was gonna go with to talk about. Is that ShoWTimE is he's all ready to go for his versus Zerg. Tefel isn't so far behind. Of course, they've all been through a ton of opponents to get to this point, and they're so close yet so far.
Well, regardless of how we predict this goes, and I will say that I think ShoWTimE a little bit favored maybe in this, the question really goes back to Tefel, like, what's he going to do? Because Tefel is actually the type of player to hit with Roach Ravager and do big all-ins and try and catch ShoWTimE before he's got an army. But,
yeah, that's something we didn't see TLO do, so I wonder if Tefel... obviously, Tefel, even if he had watched that last game, it's not like he's like, well, TLO tried to do that in Fester style, so I won't do that, because I doubt he was planning on doing that in the first place. But just going back to, like, the lack of all-ins, I feel, from Zergs, Damaga not going for the Overlord drops, Snoot only doing 1 Roach Ravager all-in, not many Ling drops at all. I was really thinking that ShoWTimE would have died to that type of stuff already, but here he is, still going strong.
Of course, one adept has a hard time killing drones. Does get 1 kill to start, which isn't bad. We saw the build cancel out of the other. In fact, ShoWTimE really shouldn't be getting any drone kills at all. These should all be build cancels. I don't know what Tefel's doing. Getting pretty late over in Europe. What's that, +9? So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It's midnight-ish.
Yeah. It's pretty, it's not only midnight, of doing nothing that day, and then they've been doing this entire tournament for 7 hours now.
Yeah,
that's all the warm-up they do beforehand.
Exactly. It's not like they just jump in and they wake up and do a tournament only. There's a lot more that goes into it. But I actually need to put my camera on you really quick and be right back. So enjoy this slightly tilted camera, guys. Get a few minutes.
I tried so hard. Alright, so I think he's singing that song as he leaves. Dusk Towers is going to be this macro game, of course. So unfortunately, it's the wrong game to leave, but oh well. We have a lair on the way for Tefel. No Roach Warren yet. Oh, okay, as I say it again, there goes the Roach Warren. And ShoWTimE is actually getting... No, never mind. I thought that was another gateway. So still just 3 gateways. Should be getting the 3rd base soon enough. Tefel could have made, 10, 20 lings, try to cancel it, but only on 4 with, 2 more on the way. He's not gonna be doing anything about that. He is going to just let it kind of happen, as you usually do on Dusk Towers. What we have to wait for is the secondary attack, the one that comes after the lair, Like, is it gonna be Spire? Is it gonna be straight to the Hydralisk Den? Play it very standard. Are you going to have a Roach Ravager attack at all? Oh, I like this. Something different. Something to actually talk about. Robotics Bay this early can usually only mean one thing, which is Disruptor. However, there was one Protoss, it might have been Night End, who has been doing Colossus and, since they were actually back in play. Who tried it versus Zerg very, very quickly. And the problem with that is the problem that Colossus have always had, is that if you don't have enough buffer on the ground, they just get pounced upon. And now it's even worse with their reduced damage. You can actually take a lot of fights that you would not in Heart of the Swarm. So I'm gonna guess Disruptor here. That's gonna keep you from dying too harshly to the mass lurkers, if that was what Tefel was doing, like Ling Hydra. I shouldn't even say that, of course, because nothing's going to guarantee you from dying to mass Zerg. You're going to need good hits, and you're going to need calm control, as always. But it will help, as opposed to maybe getting caught off guard while you're still bulking up your immortals. You know, you're only count at 2 or 4, and they come in with too big of an army, and you're just kind of screwed. 1 Disruptor hit can be better than 4 immortals, maybe even 6. But it is still a one-hit wonder, and it still has the same problem as the Colossus, that you do need something just beyond the Disruptor. So it's actually going to be Blink. So almost... I can't even say it's almost like Heart of the Swarm. Colossus weren't really PvZ in Heart of the Swarm either. It was all about that Blink. But still, seeing Blink prioritize over Immortals, prioritize over Charge, that is finally an interesting game on Dusk Towers. For the Protoss side, of course. TL already showcased the attempt at going for the Infestors, but... not so for Tefel. He'll go straight up to that Lurker Den. Excuse me. Throat's starting to give out a little bit. And here comes the push. There's a lot of Hydras, and not a lot of buffer for him, and the Disruptor's already out. But the Disruptor has 1 chance to get a shot. Here comes the second Disruptor, so 2 chances to get a good shot whenever Tefel actually decides to push. And if his Lurkers, whenever he makes them, and they're still a while off of the Lurker Den, it takes a long time to make. If his Lurkers get up right around here, it's going to be bad news either way, whether you have Disruptors or Immortals. Just giving them a ramp, giving them somewhat of a choke to abuse is never very good. ShoWTimE is going to go to a Devil Robo. I think that's always going to be the case for Protoss and Legacy of the Void. Like, that Robo tech is too important, regardless of what you're getting from that Robo. But the choice to mix it up and go for Disruptors is not something he really had to do. We have seen the Immortal style take care of the Lurker, the 20 Lurkers, you know, right off the bat that we saw from Damaga. We saw him deal with Roach Ravager attacks. We've seen him deal with even, you know, large amounts of Lings and Hydras and no Lurkers. Like, they can seem to deal with everything, depending on, you know, how well the actual engagement goes with their micro and whatnot. But to just transfer over into Disruptor might just simply be as, you know, simple as I felt like it. I wanted to change up my style, and this is how I'm going to do it.
I sat down to because reasons. That is a lot of Lurkers. Wow, okay.
Hello.
These Disruptors looking for those perfect hits. Now, unfortunately, they're not going to get them, and detection here is limited, but ooh! That one's pretty good. Gets a triple kill. This looks like the ZVPs of old, man. Not the ones we've been casting recently.
Right, yeah. I went over just how interesting it is that we finally see something different from the Protoss on this map, because we already saw something different from TLO on the map, of course. So, the Disruptors, I was just guessing, was something that he just stylistically wanted to do differently than, you know, he could have gone for the mass amount of Immortals, but decided to play it differently. He also went for Blink over Charge, so we do see the, you know, currents of Blink Stalkers and how good they can be, especially in a concave.
Yeah, I'm actually a really big fan of Disruptors in these sort of situations. If Tefel's not a player known to do meterless switches or play air, then I think the Disruptors are a better option. But I kept looking over to those Phoenix, wondering if those would come back home, if they're going to maybe do some damage, because if he brought those home, he crowd controls what little units there are, stopping him from pushing forward. And the Lurkers get focused down, the Disruptors looking to get some nice kills, and GG gets called. Tefel gets rolled as Rifkin sits back down.
I really don't think Tefel was expecting the Disruptors. That was problem number 1, pushing out on the map and then just being like, oh god, there's Disruptors. So maybe he would not have pushed and would have waited for Vipers, say? But couldn't blame him. Everyone's going for Immortals nowadays. It's a no time not oh.
And Mass Immortals... oh god, where's my hat? You can see my hair. Jesus. Mass Immortals is not totally unbeatable, but it is proving to be more and more frustrating. And that barrier ability makes them trade out really well, really nice. They're no longer like the hit it and quit it type of deal they were in the past, I guess you could say.
He didn't quit it. Not good life advice. Vice.
Our last cast of the day. But anyways, yeah, the North American broadcast is actually starting as we speak, and there is another best of 3 leading to the best of 5 with Snoot to determine who wins the European brackets, and there are other casters and streams that are going to be covering those games. North America really is Fear Dragon's thing, and we were hoping this would be all wrapped up and done by then. And in fact, like 4 years ago, it looked better and it looked like that might be the case, but unfortunately, timing just didn't really smooth out for that. So we did get to see the first part of the bracket, Laser, kicking a lot of ass, and that's good to see. We're getting to see a little bit of power out of ShoWTimE here in the losers bracket as well. But yeah, the North American qualifiers are going to be covered by Fear Dragon.
Right. ShoWTimE is going to be nicknamed the Zerg Killer by the end of it if he does get to the finals and beat Snoot.
I know, and there was, he tweeted complaining about Zerg a little bit in the tournament. I mean, this is obviously off of a burn loss, like getting sent to the losers bracket, you feel a little emotional, but like ShoWTimE's not looking bad. At least, especially compared to the ShoWTimE we saw. Do you remember the DreamHack DreamHack Rocket Winter Championship Finals, whatever the hell the official name was? Like, the end of last year, like the month into Legacy of the Void, ShoWTimE looked questionable at best versus Zerg.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's knocking people down.
I vaguely remember that. To be honest,
TLDR, he kept trying to go for Phoenix swaps and always get caught off guard every single time.
Okay.
Like, he was just not keeping up with tech swaps at all from any Zerg player that we were casting him against.
I see. All right. So, there hasn't really been a lot of tech swaps for him to deal with, and that might be his lucky day, or maybe he's actually fixed that problem. With as many opponents as they've had, I'm going to assume that he just fixed that one problem. I'm really curious to see if he goes into Disruptors again. That seemed like just a stylistic change, as opposed to anything he was really trying to counter. I kind of like hypothesized, maybe it was the very quick Ling Hydra Lurker attack we see sometimes on Dust Towers that can overwhelm the growing Immortal count, but even then I'm not sure. Immortals can deal with that too, played correctly. So we'll see if it's just something he wants to change up, because this is the third series we cast at ShoWTimE and the first time that he's shown Disruptors. Whew. Trying to feel the end of the cast here. Ugh.
You're getting old, Zamagrub. This is nothing.
I know. And just after, I can't let Fear Dragon show me up. I'm not tired at all. Take everything back.
Yeah, I did 11 hours yesterday. It's pretty nice. I said in several tweets too. I was like, that's why we brought him on, guys, because it's like the BaseTradeTV initiation. Like, instead of walking across hot coals, you gotta cast for 11 hours solo, both ways, uphill, etc. But yeah, Fear Dragon's a trooper. I'm glad we got him. Yeah, I'm glad we got him working with us. Is that any passion though? If we're gonna be honest, I really the actual truth of why we picked up Fear Dragon was the fact that he kept trying to do good by the North American scene, and even at a loss himself on a regular basis. Don't really care whether he's a good or bad caster, to be honest. And I think he is perfectly fine, but he's got that motivation that we have, and that's why I said let's do this.
You really think about it, you can go kind of conspiracy a little bit here.
Uh-oh, let's hear
We've had bad PR about North American events. Okay? So what we do is we pick up someone who's totally North American to be like, guys, we support the NA scene. We're not casting it, but look what we did.
Shut up. Although, in fairness, we did actually speak about this. So even before we got this ridiculous sub count, right? This is where I know we should be casting the game, but we're just gonna give you guys the real deal here. Before we even got this ridiculous sub count this month, we had a couple of $100 extra, which we could have just pocketed, but we said look, we don't have the time or the energy to do 3 more North American Cups every single week or something like that. So what if we just gave Fear Dragon the money to do it, and gives him a ton of exposure that he wouldn't get on his own channel. He gets paid for whatever he gets from the ad revenue from that day, just like we do, and we fund it. And he was on board, we're on board, everyone's happy, you guys get more content. There's literally no downside to this, which is great. Because I feel there's so rarely in life do you find a win-win situation that is truly win-win.
Well, you can... No, actually I can't think of something.
You and me working together, I gotta deal with you, so that's not even win-win.
Ditto. bro.
We're not talking about Pokemon right now, Zombie Grub. Get your head in the game. This is one of the problems, guys. She just can't stay on
I'm just constantly
topic.
distracted. God.
Yeah, paper bag, paper bag, paper bag.
Tefel is getting a nice amount of units
that will
and
all
might be going
die
across
to
the map.
disruptors.
Yes, that's true. He has up about 30 army supplies, so an attack wouldn't be so bad, but you're right. The disruptors would tear through the lings, hopefully.
Well,
and the immortals would tear through the roaches. Hopefully.
Right. Well, I mean, there's a bit of an asterisk there. Like, do you actually want to send it at the lings, though? Because it does sometimes get dangerously close to the lings on your units versus your disruptor shots. So I actually think just in almost every circumstance that I can think of, as long as you've got a couple of force fields and you're not sitting there with no energy on sentries and barely surviving attacks, using the disruptor shots and everything behind the lings is probably going to be more effective. But anyways, the lings are going to get into the base. There's a couple overcharges ready to go. He'll pop one and not overreact. Of course, he didn't actually see the roaches and the ravagers coming behind this. I imagine he's got an idea, of course, but Tefel this time we are seeing the Spire. And I like this move a lot more because, I mean, I'm sorry I missed most of that game. I don't know what the reason was for not going Spire. Maybe you saw those 4 Phoenix or not. But this time around, a couple of Mutalisks could certainly help deal with those disruptors a lot better.
Yeah, that is something that's I really like that Tefel is, I guess, adapted to. Hive and Vipers can also deal with disruptors, but that is obviously much later and kind of only for that situation. So ShoWTimE's actually going to be pushing out right now. Maybe just a clear up creep and a little retreat, or maybe he's actually looking for a fight. Come at me, bro. But the Mutas on the way is going to, I think, either way, like push him back. The upside to getting disruptors in this case is that he's also been getting Blink with it, so he'll have something to help with the Mutas, but obviously not the ideal, not the Phoenixes that you would really want.
Well, the creep is getting cleaned up, I guess, but this is still a little bit scary for ShoWTimE. I mean, he is down in army supply, and keep in mind, he doesn't have adequate defense at home to stop Mutalisk, so yeah, he can take an army fight head on and destroy most of what Tefel has, but at the same time, Tefel can destroy what is most precious to him, and that's his mineral line.
My precious. Some really nicely placed pylons cover everything, or try to.
There we go.
There you go. So the burst damage of the pylon is actually something that the mutas really do have to be scared of, and it looks like with this attack and the War Prism especially,
oh no!
not,
Cross
as it
the
dies. Oh, it survives.
The disruptor hits weren't that great though, and they could have gotten a little bit more out of those Ravagers. Either way, the Blink Stalker's taking care of the Mutalisks. Not a lot, not enough. The disruptors on the backside aren't getting anything done. He's trying to warp in more units for the defense, but that cooldown's coming up, and he's gonna be able to fight. Yeah, fire off more of these Purifier beams or Purification Novas, excuse me. Because the Purifier beam is a cool fucking thing that does not exist in the multiplayer campaign.
So the War Prism staying alive was really important because you do need to go ahead, well, just in general, reinforcements are good, right? But also to react appropriately to whatever tech Tefel was doing. So if you needed more Stalkers for the Mutas, then you go for Stalkers. Maybe if you need a couple of Zealots because he started flooding with Lings, then you can actually answer with that. But it is just being answered with Roaches and Ravagers, which is where the Immortals and the Disruptors are going to have a field day.
I just want to point out that like 40 supply lead Tefel had earlier, bridged officially ShoWTimE with upgrades too, looking good. I think Blink Stalkers alone could take this, but decides to blink up to the high ground, and I forgot this is Ruins of Ceres. This is a map everybody loves Blink Stalkers on except for Zerg.
With the War Prism too, you got to bring those Immortals up so he can now take an engagement on the top of the ramp with the Concave.
Yeah, snipes off that base like it's nothing at all. The spawning pool probably going to go down. Not that big of a deal, of course, but as the Ravagers rally up, this is where you just blink back down to the third and be like, what's up? Now this other base is dead. This is everything ShoWTimE wanted it and needed it to be, and Tefel is absolutely dying out because of this. Now, his army still holds strong, but this is Roaches and Ravagers, things that are not good against Blink Stalkers and Immortals.
Yeah. Tefel is going to die with so much in the bank, and this just feels terrible. Now, if he was actually able to push this back, which is not, GG.
2.4k in the bank, and he's going to go down 0-2. Ouch.
Okay. Well, ShoWTimE, the Zerg Killer. What's up?
Yeah, we'll see if he can keep up his monstrous rampage, depending on who he fights next. Because Nerdshio and Happy are playing. We don't know the score of that. But the winner of that plays against ShoWTimE. The winner of that then plays against Snoots. And that pretty much ends it here for us. Now, we already did sponsor shoutouts, so I'm going to keep it sweet and simple once again. Just thank you to G2A, to Yord, to Cheers for Gaming, and Corsair for making the channel possible. Make sure to check out all related links down below. Now, the channel's not done for the day. We're going to transition off with Fear Dragon, so I'm going to take the stream offline. He'll probably be back on here in a couple of minutes. Don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be back with more StarCraft 2, but it'll be with Fear Dragon casting. So I hope you guys enjoyed the show. And Zombie and I will be back tomorrow morning with the Ting European group. So I think it's like Hearthstone and a few others over there. So have a good one. Bye, guys.
Bye.